Okay, to begin your pocket preparation, you're actually going to press the top edge of your pocket 3/8 of an inch, which is about 8 millimeters the first time, and the second time you'll flip it to 5/8, which is 1.5 centimeters. Those are the important measurements that you need for preparing your pocket. So if your pocket has a design side on it, you want to make sure that the top edge, you're going to press 3/8 of an inch to the wrong side for the first crease, and measure it and take your iron and press that in. Remember, as you press, you want to hold it in place for about 10 seconds to get the crease to stay firmly. And then after that, flip your pocket so that now the right side is showing, wrong side is down, and this time you're going to reverse fold 1.5 centimeters, which is 5/8 of an inch, and check that measurement here and press that all along the edge. And hold that for about 10 seconds. And then bring that over to your sewing machine. Put your fabric in so the edge of the fabric is right where the needle will go down, and your seam allowance should be over here at 1.5 centimeters, or the 5/8 of an inch line up there. And then put your needle down and stitch 5/8 of an inch from the edge. Don't forget to back stitch on both ends, so go forward 5 stitches and then back stitch by holding the back stitch button down. Go to the end and then let go, and then stitch, and continue sewing forward, keeping your seam allowance straight with the 1.5 centimeter line, and stitch close to the bottom, but you want to stop with the needle in the down position 1.5 centimeters away from the bottom edge. So I'm going to come and stop with the needle in the down position, and then I'm going to rotate the pocket 90 degrees, and again check that the seam allowance still is about 1.5 centimeters, and then stitch across the bottom edge, keeping my seam allowance straight all the way across the bottom, and again stopping 1.5 centimeters away from the edge, and then turn it 90 degrees again, and then stitch forward to the top. And you want to make sure to sew over the folded facing at the top. And as you come close to it, make sure that the pin doesn't go over it. Sew all the way to the very edge of the facing, and then back stitch 4 or 5 stitches, then let go and go forward again off the edge of the pocket. Push your needle up, lift up your presser foot, and trim your threads. Go back to the beginning and trim your threads from the start as well. And then before you go to the iron, you need to take shears and trim off these 2 triangular corners of fabric. So where the pin is, you're going to cut off that triangle there, and over on this side over here, being careful not to cut through your stitching line. So that looks like this. Just trim it right here, and you end up being about 3 millimeters from the edge there. And over on the opposite side, do the same thing, cutting that triangle off. This will help it not be so bulky when you turn it over to get it ready to attach. The next step in preparing the pocket is to flip the facing from the right side to the wrong side. So you're going to turn it around, put your fingers inside those corners, and use your fingers to push the outside corner into a right angle on both corners. And then with your iron, you're going to press the 4 sides down. You want to see the stitching line to the wrong side and you're going to press the sides first. 1, and then 2, and then third you're going to press the facing, reverse fold the crease that you had from before, and look to see that you have right angles to meet standard, and press that down, and then come to the bottom and again fold it up to where you can see that stitching line, the green thread there, to the wrong side. And press it one more time. And then you're ready to stitch down the facing 1/8 of an inch, about 2 or 3 millimeters across the top from the bottom to get it ready to put on your gym bag. So let's go do that. If you take both of these threads and pull them when you're first at this thick part right here, that will help it go through smoothly. So you're going to stitch forward, and I'm pulling with the back threads. Go forward 5 stitches, then back stitch, and then go forward again, right on top of the previous line of stitching. And instead of looking over here at 1.5 centimeters, I'm actually looking at this line right here to make sure that the edge of the facing goes right inside that plastic prong right there. Stitch as straight as you can all of the way across, because on the front side this will show up as top stitching. Come to the end, then back stitch, and go off the edge. And if your needle's up, you can just lift up the presser foot and pull it out. If it's down, push it up. Trim the threads here, and then go back to the beginning where you started and trim your tails there. And now you're ready to attach it to the pocket. When you're attaching your pocket to the gym bag, you need to make sure that you have the top facing edge close to the end of the gym bag. And it should fit just inside the lines that you've traced on there. If you need to center it a little bit, that's fine. And then when you put your pins on, you should put 4 pins. Put 2 perpendicular pins, perpendicular to the side edge of the pocket at the top on both sides. And then because you're turning corners with your top stitching, put diagonal pins at the bottom. And we'll be stitching this about 3/8 of an inch from the edge of the pocket, and this is called top stitching. This time use the inside edge of your presser foot to go along the outside edge of your pocket, and that distance from the center of the needle to the edge is the amount that you'll be top stitching, and it's about 3/8 of an inch. Push your needle down with the up and down button, and then start sewing. Don't forget to back stitch. And then I often go off of the top of the pocket to reinforce it a little bit so that your pocket doesn't pull off when it's being used. And again, you want to stop. Don't go all the way to the end, but you want to stop, and I'm walking it by hand to make sure that I have it at about the same distance from the side to the bottom. And then I turn the corner and I check it right here. If my needle lines up with, and the presser foot lines up with the edge of the bottom of the pocket, then I'm okay to sew, and I can put the presser foot down and go ahead and stitch across the bottom of the pocket. And again, stopping 3/8 of an inch from the edge of the pocket. Don't sew over the pins. And I'm going to walk it by hand to get it into the right position. I think that looks right, so I'm going to turn it and check. If it's not quite enough, you can go a little further. Sometimes you might need to back up a little bit. Okay, then go ahead and do the top side here. Not the top side, the right side. And stitch to the end, and go off 1 stitch, and then back stitch, and then come up and go just off of the pocket to reinforce it, and then pull it out. You'll need to pull it and trim the top thread from the top and lift it up and trim the bobbin thread from the back, and then come over and trim the top thread and the bobbin thread here. Okay, and that's how your pocket looks when it's completely attached.